Thanks for making Locked On Yankees your first listen every day. We're free and available on all platforms. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. Visit rockauto.com and tell them Locked On sent you. On today's Locked On Yankees, memories of World Series past, we'll preview this year's matchup, and I have some advice for Braves and Astros fans.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings, everyone. It's Tuesday, October 26th, 2021. I'm Stacey, the host of Locked On Yankees. If you're new here, I used to write for Baseball Prospectus and the Hardball Times. I've written for ESPN, and some of my words have appeared in magazines, which is pretty cool when you think about it. And my father was a born and bred Yankees fan from the Bronx, and there was no other way that I could grow up because he would have disowned me. So here I am. Anyway, welcome to the show. You can catch us in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Odyssey, Spotify, Stitcher, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can catch us on YouTube if you're watching. Hello, thank you. Subscribe and like and comment and do all those good things. And you can tell your smart device to play podcast Locked On Yankees. So, as I said in the teaser on today's show, we're going to look at World Series from the past, because today happens to be an anniversary for two different World Series, recent ones. One by, well, okay, I shouldn't even say recent. They're not that recent. They're more than 20 years ago now, both of them. So recent compared to, the 40s and 50s Yankees. So we'll talk about those games. And we'll preview tonight's matchup between the Astros and Braves. I know that Yankee fans are upset that the Yankees didn't even make it past the wild card game, but there's still baseball to be watched. And I feel like it's kind of fun hate watching the World Series. Although I don't think Yankee fans should have anything against the Braves, really, because the Braves haven't cheated against them. The Astros did. So I don't know. But it's still kind of a rough matchup because of other stuff that's happened with the teams. I'll explain that in a second. But anyway, we also have insider clips. Gordon Beckham will be talking about what's going on in the World Series and what he thinks will be happening in the World Series. I said yesterday that I can picture the Braves winning in 6. I know some people are thinking Astros in 5. I even saw some people say that the Astros will probably sweep, but I don't know. The Braves feel like the team of destiny this postseason. They seem like the ones who, they made it through the big bad Dodgers, and I don't know. It feels like this might be their time to shine. We'll see. Tonight's matchup is between Charlie Morton and Framber Valdez. Let's see. In the postseason so far, Morton is 0-1 with a 3.77 ERA. That's in 14 1/3 innings with 19 strikeouts. Valdez, if my Wi-Fi will behave, which it is not, thank you, is 1-0 with a 4.20 ERA in 15 innings with 13 strikeouts. If you're watching me on YouTube, you'll know why I made the face after 420. Anyway, game starts at 8:09. It's in Houston. And again, I don't know. I'm thinking Braves in 6. Let me know on Twitter what you think, how you think it's going to go. I don't know. I'm feeling Braves in 6. So as I said, Gordon Beckham is our insider for Locked On, and he had some things to say about this matchup. And this is what he had to say about the Astros offense.
Stevens with another Locked On MLB Insider report, joined here by Gordon Beckham, our MLB Insider. The World Series stage is set. It's going to be Houston Astros and the Atlanta Braves. Obviously, some of the two hottest teams they've made it to this point to make it to the World Series. But the Astros seem like they're here quite often. I think what we mentioned, their third appearance in 5 years in the World Series. So are you surprised that they made it back to this point, Gordon?
No, I think they're a really good team. I mean, they're super talented. Obviously, they have kind of a checkered past with everything that's gone on over the last 5 years. But the fact that they're back there this year just shows how good they are, right? I mean, they're easily the best offensive team I think I saw most of the year. I mean, like, they were just really, really good. I actually called the White Sox Houston games in the middle of the season when the White Sox were a pretty good team, and Houston just buried them. So their offense is really, really good, and their bullpen's been great. I mean, they've been relying on that because their starters have kind of struggled in a lot of ways. So they're a hot team. Both teams are hot right now. I think that when you get to the World Series, you don't really have somebody that sneaks by. I mean, Atlanta had to play Milwaukee and then the Dodgers, and I mean, the Dodgers were playing really well. They beat the best team in the regular season, the Giants, and then got to the Braves, and I think they kind of ran out of gas. But the Braves look good. They're trending in the right direction. This is going to be a great World Series. I think it's anybody's game. It's just a matter, just the small things are really going to add up and matter in this series, as they always do when it's on the line.
I agree with Gordon Beckham. It is anyone's series, but I still feel like the Braves can pull something off here. As I said just a few minutes ago, it feels like they're the team of destiny. I don't think some people expected them to beat the Brewers, but I feel like the Brewers were overwhelmingly favored against the Braves. And the Dodgers, obviously, because they're the Dodgers, were favored against the Braves. And I don't know, it just seems like it's theirs to lose. I don't know. But this is what Gordon Beckham had to say about the Braves.
You can't take much away from Atlanta. Obviously, they're in the playoffs almost every year, it feels like, as well. Obviously, to make the World Series, that's a big jump for them. But is this going to be something where experience plays a big role for the Astros because they've been here so much? Or is this something where, the Braves are really hot, and to have gotten to this point, they might continue rolling that way?
Yeah, that's a great question. I do think that there might be some World Series jitters by the Braves, but I think at the end of the day, they're finding a way to get big hits in big situations, and I think that's going to continue. They just finished their series against the Dodgers, and they're a little bit they're coming off the field a little bit later than the Astros did. And so the Astros had this kind of layoff. Sometimes I don't think this will happen, but you can get away from the game and you just kind of lose a little bit of the feel when you have days off. So it might take them a minute or two to get going. And I think that for the Braves to really take this series, I think they're going to need to jump out to a hot start, get going early against this starting staff for the Astros, which is, banged up and struggled a little bit. So the Braves have everything in their favor that if they can come out and their bats can do the talking, because their pitching staff is really, really good, and they're lined up. They have Charlie Morton going in game one. So the Braves have got a great chance to do this. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see if the layoff for the Astros gets them off to a little bit of a rusty start. And if the Braves can take advantage of that, if that does happen, they'll be in a driver's seat going back to Atlanta in game 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, I think the key for Atlanta is to take at least one in Houston. If they take game one, that would be amazing. And that's always the key. When you're the road team, you have to split. You have to. Although I have a story later of a team that didn't split at home, then had to play the middle 3 games on the road and ended up winning the World Series. You know who I'm talking about. It's the anniversary, and I'm going to get into it in segment 3. Anyway, so again, yes, I think the Braves can pull this off. I think Gordon Beckham is right. I don't think the layover is going to affect the Astros that much, because I think it was only a 1-game difference, right? Because the Astros beat the Red Sox on Friday, and then the Braves beat the Dodgers on Saturday. It wasn't as if the Astros swept through Boston and haven't played in nearly a week. So I don't know. I kind of disagree that way. I don't think one day is going to make that much of a difference. But then again, I'm not a former baseball player, and Gordon Beckham is. So you might want to listen to him if you're maybe thinking about wagering on these games. Anyway, this episode is brought to you by Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing numbers of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. Why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning and wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computers, but choosing only the brand their warehouse happens to carry? You have computers with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket. You can save time and money when using Rock Auto. Rock Auto is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years, and their prices are reliably low for every customer. They have everything you could need, from brake parts to tail lamps, motor oil, and even new carpet. Go explore their easy-to-use website today to find the solution to your auto parts needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Write Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. Thanks again for making Locked On Yankees your first listen every day. We're free and available on all platforms. So, Braves and Astros in the World Series in 2021. Who would have thought? Aside, as I said yesterday, I think it was Trevor Plouffe who predicted that in April or May. And people probably thought, okay, sir, good guess, but here we are. It's not shocking that the Astros would make the World Series because they've won the pennant 5 years. Not won the pennant. They've made the ALCS 5 years in a row, right? And won the pennant 3 out of those 5. So, yeah, that wasn't shocking. But the Braves coming out of the NL East to make it into the World Series. And as I said in segment 1, beating the Brewers, beating the Dodgers, and not having a particularly hard time doing it is pretty impressive. And they're on a roll. And again, I just think they're the team of destiny. But this segment's going to be about their fans. I know not everyone lives on Twitter like I do, but I'm on Twitter a lot, and I'm seeing a lot of Braves fans and Astros fans being very defensive right now, which is understandable because there are bitter fan bases that are upset that the Astros are in. You have the Dodgers fan base, you have the Yankees fan base, you have basically everyone against the Astros because of what happened in 2017. Then you also have people who are against the Braves because of stuff that goes on in their stadium with regards to the name of the team, with regards to the chant that they still do that offends Native Americans. And it's just a whole messy sort of situation. So a lot of their fans are taking offense to fans of other teams bad-mouthing them, which is understandable. But hi, I'm a Yankee fan. We're constantly bad-mouthed. So just suck it up. Seriously. Suck it up, deal with it. And if and when your team wins, rub it in as much as you can. That's my advice to you. That's what you do. Don't do it now. Wait until your team wins, obviously. Don't talk trash before your team wins because that's always kind of a jinx. That's kind of bad juju. You can't talk trash before your team actually does something. So don't talk the trash until after your team wins. And then when they do, talk as much trash as you want to. You've earned it. But the other thing that's bothering me about the Astros stuff is the whole us against them thing. That team did not take responsibility for what they did at all. They didn't. They barely got punished for it. And the way they're acting is just so bratty, and the fans don't accept the fact that their team cheated to win the World Series. And sure, probably every team has a sign-stealing scheme, but your teams won the World Series. It helped them get to the World Series and win the World Series. So, of course, people are going to be pissed about it. Blindly defending them is wrong. You have to accept the fact that your team did something and don't constantly throw out, but everyone else did it. Yeah, but not everyone else won the World Series doing it, except for the 2018 Red Sox. That's my only problem. Just accept it, okay? And then talk crap if your team wins. You'll have earned it at that point after this season. But you're going to have to deal with the fact that people are going to hate your team probably forever. Hi, again, Yankee fan. I know what that's like. My team hasn't won since 2009, and people still attack my team as if they win every year. My team hasn't even seen a World Series since 2009. They almost did in 2010, 2012, 2017. So 2019, that's right. They made the ALCS then too. I almost forgot about that series. Ugh, especially the way it ended. Ugh, God, what a horror show. Anyway, so that's my advice for Braves and Astros fans. Just suck it up, deal with it, and then when your team wins, brag as much as you can. Do it for like a week afterwards because you have winning the World Series, then you have your championship parade, And then you have a couple of weeks to just be walking around all proud, like, my team won, because that's what I did in 2009. So have fun with that. Again, but don't talk crap before your team actually does something, because that never works. Okay, so I have a little time here. I thought I wasn't going to have time, but I have time. 21 years ago tonight, the Yankees beat the Mets in the Subway Series in Game 5, October 26th, 2000. This is my favorite story of all time. If you've heard it before, I apologize. If you haven't, buckle up. So I had a friend who worked for the Yankees, and he let me and my friends know, by the way, if the Yankees win tonight, this is the club that some of them are going to be at in Manhattan. And if you come out and meet me, we can hang out. So my friends and I are like, hell yes, let's do this. As soon as Luis Soho hit his bouncer up the middle, I started getting dressed because I knew I'd be heading into Manhattan to hang out with some Yankees. So the Yankees win the game. My friends and I pile into our car. Granted, it's Thursday night and I have to work the next morning. So do my friends. We all had 9-to-5 jobs. One of my friends was a teacher at the time. We didn't care. How old were we? 26? 26. We were 26 and thrilled that we were going to be hanging out with some Yankees. So we head down to Manhattan, go to 151, RIP 151. That was a fun club in the late 90s, early 2000s. And the bouncer's like, girls, come on in. Because there was a line outside and we figured we'd go on the line. They're like, no, come on in. We're like, okay. We walk in. 151 was not big. The bar was up front and then you walked into the back and there was the dance floor and some risers where the VIPs went. So we were there maybe 10 minutes. And when I tell you it was like a movie scene, it was like a movie scene. It was as if everything stopped, everyone parted ways, and Derek Jeter made his way into the club. It was amazing. So we spent the whole night. When I say whole night, we were there till 4:30 in the morning. And it was Derek Jeter, Jose Vizcaino, David Justice, Jose Canseco, Glenn Allen Hill. I know I'm missing someone. So my best friend at the time was mad because Bernie wasn't there, Tino wasn't there. They were her favorite players. My favorite player at the time was Derek Jeter. I was very excited that he was there. The one thing I will say was we were the only girls in the club, there were 4 of us, that did not try to go up to the Yankees at all. We were just happy to be in the same room as them and dancing and partying and just having fun. The Yankees beat the Mets in the World Series. It was just a fun night. And at one point, Glenn Allen Hill was dancing on the dance floor by himself. And he was wearing a royal blue silk or satin shirt with short sleeves, totally unbuttoned, big, thick gold chain, black dress pants, black shoes. And he was dancing by himself and he bumped into me. Glenn Allen Hill is not a very tall man, but he was built like a brick shithouse. It's the only time I'm going to curse. I'm not small. I am 5'9" and a little bit, and I'm a solid person. And he bumped into me and I went flying. He apologized. He said, "Oh, baby, I'm so sorry." I said, "Hey, you just won the World Series. You can throw me around this dance floor all you want." My friend still has a picture of him dancing. She has a whole photo album from that night. And it was just the best. I got home at 5:30 in the morning, went straight into my shower, and then headed back to Manhattan for work, was drooling at my desk at lunch, made it home by 6:45, and I was passed out before 7 o'clock. And I wasn't even fully on my bed. Apparently, my feet were hanging off, and I woke up the next morning at about 9 in the morning on Saturday, fully dressed, not remembering how I got into my bed. It was a top 5 night in my life, still 21 years later. Oh, I miss my 20s. Anyway, BetOnline is back and better than ever. Has a new web interface to start the basketball season and more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the basketball and football action this season. Head to our new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. From basketball to football, baseball postseason, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for 2021. Here are some numbers, okay? The Astros winning in 7 is 4-1. Winning in 6, 19-4. The Braves winning in 6, 11-2. The Braves winning in 7, 11-2. The Astros winning in 5, 6-1. The Braves winning in 5, 13-2. The Astros sweeping 17-2, and the Braves sweeping 14-1. So there are those numbers. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. Story number 2, 25 years ago tonight, the Yankees winning their first World Series in 18 years. That seemed like such a long drought, and now we're up to 12, so we're only 6 years away from having the same length of drought. Ugh. And they didn't even make the World Series. Oh, wow. It's really similar, isn't it? Yikes. Okay, anyway. So, October 26th, 1996. I'm in Oswego. That's where I went to college. And my friend Brenda came up to visit. We parked ourselves in front of a TV at Old City Hall in Oswego. If you remember that place, if you went to Oswego, I was there every Friday and Saturday night for like 3 straight years. And they had like patio furniture in that place. So we took 2 chairs and a table and we were just drinking pitchers of beer watching the game. And then as the game went on, obviously, more of a crowd gathered by the TV. And, this was 25 years ago. So guys were coming up to us amazed that we were watching a baseball game. And, oh, you actually know about baseball? Yes, we actually know about baseball. And the way that the Yankees won that World Series, to lose the first 2 games the way they did, being outscored at home 16-1, and then having to go to Atlanta County Fulton Stadium, is that what it was called? To play the middle 3 games and then sweep the middle 3 games and head back to Yankee Stadium. They were a completely different team. And as I said, that Jim Leyritz home run in Game 4 turned the series around. Just like the flip play turned around the series against Oakland in 0-1. It was the same exact thing. The Braves were not coming back from that. They just weren't, especially with them leading in that game 6-0. And then him tying that game the way he did. It wasn't the final nail in the coffin, but it was the second. Yeah, it was just amazing. So the Yankees head back home. And what I didn't know while I was sitting in the bar in Oswego is that my dad had a ticket for me for Game 6. It was a Saturday. I could have easily gone down to New York from Oswego, go to the game, head back up to Oswego, and be ready for school for Monday. But my mom thought it would be too much and never told me. Well, not until after the game. I'm still bitter about this. It's 25 years later because I missed my chance to watch the Yankees win the World Series in person with my dad. My brother got to do it. I never got to do that. So I'm still bitter about that because my dad is no longer here. So that still gets me 25 years later. So we're watching the game. The 9th inning happens. John Wetland, does he make things interesting? Yeah, he kind of makes things interesting, but not really. But it was just a matter of, oh my God, just end this game already, please, because this is just holy cow. And speaking of, as I was speaking of in the second segment, I was in junior high when the Mets won in 86. I had to deal with Met fans making fun of me in the 80s, basically, from 86 to 88, 9. And then the Yankees were horrible in 90 and 91. Then they started getting better. So I know what it's like to have people make fun of you for the team that you root for, which is kind of funny when you think about it, because then the Yankees turn things around so much that you almost forget what it's like. But yeah, I remember what it was like to have people trash talking me constantly. And they're doing it again. So Yankees, get the message, do something, because we can't take another drought like this. So the first pop-up goes to the left side and Charlie Hayes flies into the dugout and you think he's dead and then he's okay. And then the pop-up happens again, basically almost the same exact spot, except it stays in. And it felt like that pop-up was in the air for 15 minutes. And Charlie Hayes catches that ball, jumps in the air. Everyone freaks out. I jumped in the air. Some guy picked me up and spun me around. I don't even remember his name. I just remember he was very tall. And cute, if I recall correctly, but I don't even remember his name. Then again, it was 25 years ago and it was college and I was in a bar and I was drinking pitchers of beer. So, yeah. So everyone's excited the Yankees win the World Series because, as I said, my age range, okay, so anyone born, say, mid-70s to late 70s, we obviously don't remember 77 and 78. We were too young. So our first memory was 81 when they lost to the Dodgers. So for them to win at the time that they did, when we were 22 and we were not fully formed and functioning adults, because I don't think your brain is fully formed until you're 25, but you're cognizant of everything that's happening. And it's such an amazing feeling to have that long of a drought end when you're old enough to appreciate it, you know? And it felt like such a relief. Like, oh my God, finally, the Yankees finally won a World Series. I know what it feels like because my dad was born in 1941. Do you realize how many World Series championships my dad watched? It's a lot. I mean, he was even born in a year that they won the World Series. We actually buried my father with a Yankee hat that had a World Series patch from 1941 sewn on the side of it. So for us Gen Xers who, loved Don Mattingly, loved Dave Winfield, we loved our 80s Yankees, but they didn't make the playoffs. And for this to happen finally was amazing. So we leave the bar because I said to my friend, I want to go get my Yankee hat, put it on, walk around proud. People were honking horns on the main street of Oswego, Bridge Street. And we headed to the bar that everyone ended up at the end of the night, the Woodshed Tavern, also known as the Shed. If you went to Oswego, big ups to the Shed. At one point, I had 4 freshly opened Labatt Blues in front of me because I was wearing a Yankee hat and guys kept buying me beer. It was the greatest night. And not only that, it was the night the clocks went back. So all the bars that were supposed to close at 2 in Oswego stayed open the extra hour. So let's just say that I didn't recover from that night until Monday. Now, when I went home to get my hat, I called my mom, all excited that the Yankees won the World Series. And that's when she told me, oh, by the way, your dad had a ticket for you, but I thought it would be silly for you to come down. And I said, I hate you. And I hung up the phone. I don't hate my mother. I was just very angry that I didn't get to see the Yankees win a World Series in person. So, yeah, it was. And then when we were at the Shed, we were chanting, let's go Yankees, and then banging our beer bottles on the bar for like 2 hours straight. And no one got sick of it. It was amazing and so much fun. And when I say that I want other fan bases to experience this, I really do. I want long-suffering fan bases to experience what it's like to win a World Series again. And you know what? That's why I would prefer the Braves to win, because the Astros already did it in 2017. I think the Braves fan base would be excited because the last 2 times they made the World Series, the Yankees knocked them out. So it would be nice for them to win. So, yeah, I'll say it. Braves in 6. Just don't come at me if that doesn't happen. But I'm going to say it right now, Braves in 6. That's what I'm hoping for. We'll see if it happens. So that's it for this episode of Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'd like to remind you that you can listen to the show in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Odyssey, Spotify, Stitcher, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube and you can subscribe. And when you get into your car, you can tell your smart device to play podcast Locked On MLB Prospects. Now you can make your second listen Locked On MLB Prospects. Host Aram Layton is a prospect encyclopedia, and he's going deep on the MLB stars of tomorrow. It's free and available on all platforms. One more thing, if you could be so kind, please rate the podcast and spread the word about this podcast to your fellow Yankee fans. We would really appreciate it. Enjoy your Tuesday, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.